Hey everyone, how are you? We're here on another episode of The John Show, and I'm your host, John D. Clauser. And I just wanted to stop by real quick for this podcast started and just say, hey, you should like, comment, and subscribe. You should even give this video a thumbs down because, when you do that, I still take that as a compliment. Anyway, yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys on the other side. I don't know. I tried doing something different. I don't know if that worked or not, but it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want, really, honestly. All right? Is anyone... Ow. Ow.
I just heard a moment ago, President Biden refuses to move the August 31st deadline. He's allowing the Taliban to dictate what we do. And he's going to leave our American people behind. You fucking coward. You fucking coward.
Justin, calm down, baby. Calm down. Calm down, honey.
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Clauser.
All right. What is going on? How are you guys? What is the bird word? What's the word is the bird? How's that saying go? The bird is the word. That's how it is. How's the bird is the word? Is that doing good? Are you doing well? I'm doing swell. Let's get to it, I guess. So what's up? How are you? So yeah, I am your host, John D. Clauser. This is the John Show. You could say that, or the Juan Solo Show, which I really feel like we've slightly discussed about it, haven't we? A little bit. That the Juan Solo Show has always been the name that has always been something that I'm like, that's what it should be. I think that's what it should be. And I always thought, like, when it finally goes to like iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff like that, that's what I should call it. And, the only thing I've always been like kind of like hesitant on with it is like, will people know how to spell Juan? Like, that's the only thing I'm afraid of. But does anyone ever spell and search for stuff, or they always hit on the links and it sends it to that stuff? So it's also one of those kind of thoughts as well. So I also might be overthinking it. I could easily be doing that, but I hope you guys are, like I said earlier, I hope you guys are doing well. It's a new episode 80. God damn, guys, I've done this 80 times. It blows my mind every time I do this, because I'm like, this is one of the most silliest things I do. It really is one of the silliest things I do, because it's just sitting here in front of some lights with a camera, with a microphone, and talking to and hearing a slight echo of myself into my ears. It's a really fun thing to be doing. It's a good thing. It's a good practice thing to be doing. I was actually just talking to a good buddy of mine earlier, and I was like, just like, you just got to do it. It's just really good practice, like doing a podcast by yourself. And I've significantly gotten better just in talking. It really is interesting to see how well I feel I've grown. But I feel like if you're doing anything, you should at least be trying to grow a little bit, because it's one of those. It's just one of those things. Like, why half-ass things? You're spending time doing it, because if you're gonna spend your time doing something, it should at least work hard at it. Try to get good at it, so that it helps like cut down on time when you really need it. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking like that. But so before I started this podcast, I'm always like, okay, how should I start these things? Because that's always the thing. I'll start rambling. I'll start talking. I'll start going. That's not the problem. It's always the beginning of it. It's just revving that engine. It's getting that turnover. It's getting that goof and having it pop over. That's always the problem. That's it. Once I finish, like once I've mastered that part, that's the one part for right now that I've been like, rough. It's been rough and tough for me because I just want. I'm just like, John, just do it. If you start talking, it just start going. Just say, all right, well, because it's really, I think maybe hearing the sound of my voice and being like, oh, okay, well, it's my turn to talk. I guess I'll talk. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? My name is John. So, but yeah, so don't you love that? I just stepped the fuck out of my cord. Yeah, I was always like, how should I start this podcast this week? So I was like, maybe I should. Don't you just love how everything's falling apart right now? So I was thinking, like, maybe I should like tell a story that I've never told before. I've actually really, I don't tell the story very often because it's not that I think it's a hilarious story. It's just an odd story, off the wall, just random story, but it just like, I don't know. It's never been one of these ones that to fit in. It's never fits in really well. In the sense of like being able to just like fall into a story, like fall into like normal day conversation. It really is like a podcast, or like you're just drinking a beer and you're just telling a story. Like, hey, you want to hear like yeah, John has a random story with this guy, don't you? And like someone brings it up. It's one of those kind of stories. So let's rewind to literally like January 2nd. I guess it was like, yeah, I don't think it was January 1st, because January 1st is my government birthday. And, but like, I don't think anything was open on January 1st. And so, and especially in Hawaii. So I was in Hawaii for my birthday. It was it the winter of 2008? So it just turned 2008. Literally that day, like January 1st, January 2nd. It's around that time when we went. So my parents were like, hey, John, it's your birthday. What do you want to do for your thing? And I'm in Hawaii, and I'm like, what can I do? There's been a lot of different things. We've gone to like the Volcano National Park. We've done that kind of stuff. And I like doing outdoor things. I always like, my family and I were always into doing those hiking and checking out like weird places that people used to live, or like the first civilization area of like an island or something. It's weird. My parents love looking at really odd stuff or seeing really odd museums. Like I remember when I went to Prague. My parents went to Prague, and when we went there, we drove like an hour and a half outside of like Prague, which is in the Czech Republic, to this church that was all made with bones. It was insane. It was like, it took forever to get there. But my parents were like, well, no, we read it looked pretty cool, so we want to check it out. It's like, all right, well, let's get her going. Let's do it. And so anyway, so we're in Hawaii on the Big Island. My family, I guess another little thing, I don't know if I ever talked about this that much, but my parents had a vacation home on the Big Island, right outside the Hilo side. So there was Kona, which you'd fly into, and that was like the more volcano side. And then you drive. At that time, when we first bought the house, you had to go all the way up and over, or underneath and around, to get to the other side of the island, because it's like two different points. Because like it's Kona over here, and then Hilo is over here. And you can go up, and it's, I believe, like 2 hours and 15 minutes, or you can go underneath, and it's like 2 hours and or an hour. No, not 2 hours. It had been like an hour and like 25 minutes, and then or an hour and like 10 minutes. It was something like that. It was like you just picked one. Until now, they made a highway that goes across, which I believe it cuts out like a bunch of time. I've never ridden on that highway. I've just only heard about it. It's like I think that happened within the last 10 years. I want to say 10, 15 years of that happening, that highway. Anyway, I only tell you this because like it's very specific of where I was at. So we live over on the Hilo side, which is the rainforest side. That's what's so crazy about this island. If you've ever been to the island of Hawaii, like all the islands, like every island is really different, but the Big Island is what my parents really liked. And they were getting into it. Like they had a bunch of money, and like they wanted to put into like a liquid. They just wanted to build some assets. And so my parents were really good with their money. It was kind of crazy watching it like on the back end, be like, damn, like just like the weird things my parents would like the way they used it, and they would just play it. They used money like how like an NBA basketball player uses a basketball. They just like kind of like in between their arms, in between their legs. That's just how they used it. And so we had this house over there, and then I would always like, so during like school breaks, I would go over there and visit a lot of the time, and then every once in a while I would have like a random like 3-day weekend over in Hawaii, when I wasn't doing any sports. But that was like maybe like 2 months out of the year. I only took like 2 months off. Even that, it was like really rough. I still like did a bunch of workouts and stuff, but there wasn't like, it just didn't play any games. That's really the only difference. Everything stayed the same. The routine stayed the same. It's just no games. So I was over there, January of 2008, and my parents were like, you know what do you want to do? What do you want to do for your birthday? I was like, okay, what can I do? And I had been Googling a bunch of stuff when I was at school, seeing like, what can I do for my birthday? Because like I know what's gonna happen. Like that's what my parents always do. Like it's your one day, do what you want. So I found the Seahorse Ranch, and where they breed seahorses, and these pools, and you go there, and they have these like farmers that help like breed them. Like have these like, I don't know, scientists or people. I don't know. It was just really fun. It was just really cool. I'm like, and you get it at the end of the whole tour thing, because the tour was like an hour and like 10 minutes, hour and 15. Because there's a shit ton of stuff. Like they were showing you like when they're super little to like where they are big. And then at the very end, you got to literally put your hand in the water. Now, this was like the one thing I was totally okay with doing. But you put your hand down in the water, and they would wrap around your finger. And then they would get off. And that was it. That was like the cool thing. But the funny thing is like, it's a random fucking thing. And we were going on a random day. It was like a Tuesday. And so we went there, and like there wasn't very many people at the place except just the workers. And we walked in and we checked in because you had to do like a reservation. And then we were just kind of waiting for the tour to start. And then like this guy walked in, and he had long hair, and he had a beard, and he had sunglasses on. He walked up to the desk, and he's like, David. And I was like, wow, like David. I'm like, that voice sounds kind of familiar, because like we weren't that far away from each other. And I'm just an 18-year-old kid. I just turned 18, and I'm just like, hanging out. And like growing up, I listened to a lot of Nirvana. I listened to the Foo Fighters, and the thing is, and it was like, so like I listened to like a lot of like that type of music. And the reason why I say that is because then like he took his sunglasses off, and it was fucking Dave Grohl. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then was so funny is like him and his family and my family went through the whole tour together. Like our two families together went through the whole thing. And it was just like crazy standing next to like Dave Grohl on my birthday and being like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm standing next to a rock and roll legend here. Like, holy shit. And this was like back in 2008. So it wasn't like he isn't as big as he is now, but it was like, oh my, holy shit. I can't believe this is happening. Like, how random is it to meet Dave Grohl at a Seahorse Ranch? And I was like, I told my parents about it. I'm like, do you guys know do you guys have any clue like who we're standing next to? And they're like, no, like this guy's like a rock and roll legend. He's been like a bunch of bands. Like he's really well known. Like this is a big deal. And then you're gonna get your picture. I'm like, no, like this is cool shit. Like just this at itself, just meeting Dave Grohl at a Seahorse Ranch where they breed seahorses is cool enough. Like no one else is gonna have this story. I don't need anything else. I'm just gonna take this moment. I'm gonna enjoy it and go on with my life. And that's what I did, because I thought it was funny. It was just one of the most most random events that's ever happened. I was like, just an 18-year-old kid, just like, hey, let's go to a Seahorse Ranch and have some fun and learn about seahorses, because you just learn like the whole history about it, and like it's anything weird. Like hell, I made videos about the dog, like the Greyhound Hall of Fame. I've done a video over that. So like, what makes you think I want to go see seahorses get like where they breed and how they breed and what the history of seahorses? Like, why would I not want to know this stuff? Weird shit is interesting. Check out that like you learn stuff and like then you're like, oh, and then you might get to meet like a rock and roll legend. So yeah, be like me, guys. Be more like me. I hope one day you guys realize, like, hey, this guy, as dumb as he is, he sure seems like he has a lot of fun. And you're right. I have all the fun. Not all the fun. I have a good amount of fun. It's a good time. But what else? Have you guys I know I talked about it on the Aaron and I don't know. I have no idea if I did talk about it on the Aaron and John show. But the mola mola, it's like a large bony fish. It's like flat. It's just weird looking. I just thought it was an odd thing that it's so weird if like, I don't know if there is a God or that's the only weird thing. Like if there is a God that I want to ask him him or her or whatever it is. I want to ask it that I'm like, why did you make this? Like, why? What was the purpose of this? Like, what is? I guess that'd be then lead up to the like, what is the biggest? What's the purpose of all of it? What was the like? But it's like, it's just like, It's so interesting, like thinking about like, I don't believe it, but it'd be cool. It's the fact that we are a simulation. That's. If we were just like one giant simulation, because that almost kind of makes more sense to me in this, just if you really want to be crazy and like go and believe into it in the sense of like, because like the universe is always expanding and there's like multiple like universes like ours in the Milky Way. So there's a lot of chances of them like being maybe equal to or probably greater than like technology or like evolution that we have. And so because of that, like, why would God only like focus on us? Like, it just seems very counterproductive of like all the science that we're learning. I don't know. That's the only downside of like, that I'm like about, I guess what you'd say about religion. Because, I think it's important. I do think religion is important to have in the sense of structure and having like a ground base of something to understand. And sometimes you can connect that with like your culture. And it's a cool little twofer that occurs. And I think it makes you more of a whole. And with having that, there's less chance of like not knowing and having like and going astray in life because you're so worried about like who you are and what you are and trying to become this thing. You have an idea at least of what you are and who you are, and it helps get you through those hard times so you don't go astray kind of thing. I don't know. It's also it's fun. Some elements of it is kind of more funner than others. Like, and that's I can see why and I know that's probably like really crude and probably a little like asinine to grade it to something like that, but it's just the honest truth. It's like sometimes it's like, sometimes this is way more interesting than that, because I think something like like Jewish being kosher, not eating pork. It's like it's not really about eating pork. It's more about like not eating something and having a greater understanding of something bigger than you. It's like you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for something else that's bigger than you. And it's good to just have it. Is it weird? Yeah, it's random. It's random as hell. But it is what it is. It's just what it is. It's just a way of thought. It's like being keto versus just being vegetarian. So, again, I pretty much broke it down to a weird example. Which, hey, John, we got it on the first time. Like, we kind of got it. You didn't have to explain it 4 more times in 4 more ways. I get it. I understand. I understand. So I did one of the most stupidest things this week. I had to get my weekly groceries, right? And on my list of stuff I had to get, I needed to get more body wash because I was running. I had like about that much, and so I didn't want to run out. So it's good to have. So once I did run out, I had another bottle that I could easily just replace. I could easily replace the old one. So I saw this body wash, and it was like coffee and coconut, and I don't know why I got it because I don't like either or. Neither. I don't like to eat it. I don't like to smell it. I don't know why I would want to rub like a scented version of it on my body. It makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. And I was like, okay, let's get that. And I don't. It was just a really nice. It was one of the nicer, like top of the line body washes. Maybe I'm bougie, but it was on sale, so I was like, let's try it. And I understand why it's on sale now. Why it was on sale. Because it was the worst decision I ever made in my life. Because now I walk around selling like a fucking cup of coffee with coconut cream in it. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all because it's really strong. Like, most scents just kind of go away, and it's just like nice. You smell like, you can tell like right after the shower, but like, it kind of goes away a little bit. It kind of tames itself. This one doesn't tame. It almost ramps up a bit more, and then it calms down, and then it goes away. But it's just like, good God, this is awful. Not liking it. Not fun. I wish I had better choices. I wish I made better choices in my life, because that was an awful one. That was a horrific choice. But that was a little glimpse into my life, into my world. My weird world. This whole thing's fucking weird, guys. I'm always finding out like of cousins and nieces and nephews and like grandparents, like more uncles and sisters and brothers. Like, dude, guys, my life is insane in that sense. That'd be another good question I like to ask my guy. I'm like, almost. It's really interesting. It's really good for stories, like for the story aspect of things. But it's also really like, okay, universe, I'm 32 years old. I would kind of like to calm down. I guess like it makes sense because like the 20s, I had no clue for most of it. So it's like now, like, okay, the 30s is gonna hit. Now you're gonna learn a lot of weird shit about your life. In the life that you could have had. You know how weird it is? It's because it's like this weird glimpse into this world that I would have been part of, but I'm not ever going to be part of. Or I'm not going to ever be part of, but it's growing up in it. That part of my life is done now. So I will never be able to do that in Honduras or in Egypt. Nothing. I won't ever again. Never, ever, ever. So to have that idea and then think about the juxtaposition of the two is just like holy hell, like every day there's not a day that doesn't go by. I know it sounds so cliche. I know guys, I realize this. It's the truth though. This is the goddamn truth. It's like, I'm fucking lucky as fuck. Like, it's like, oh man, things could have been way worse. Things could be way worse. I could be in a cage right now, but I'm not in a cage because I probably look like a fucking white guy, but I'm a brown guy. I have curly hair. I have a big nose. Jew nose looking, some people would say. I've been told that a lot because people are like, you Jewish? Because it looks like I can tell by your nose. You gotta be Jewish because your nose. I'm like, okay. It's like, and your hair, little kinda with your hair, but most of your nose. It's your nose. It's like, I know that's an awful Eastern accent, but it's like, that's what it's gross. It's gross. It's grossness. It's what happens when you go around and you travel a bunch and you meet a bunch of different people, especially being ambiguous looking and growing up in the early 2000s, really. Being my teenage years, high school, then college was the mid 2000s. I guess was the 2020, 2021, 2022. It's like isn't it crazy? It's like was it September, October, November, December? Yeah, it's like in 4 months, like 3 months away, and this month is done. I mean, this year is over, and we're still in COVID. We'll be 2 years out. I love the thought when we're like, you're out. This time, we'll be good. It's like, maybe not. it's getting kind of to the point where it's like, gotta stop being scared, or I don't know. Really, I know we shouldn't be. I shouldn't talk about this all. You know why? Because I don't turn on a Bunsen burner every day, and I don't wear a lab coat. I don't have I don't even I'm not even a doctor. So for me to be talking about this is pretty asinine. See how easy it is just to admit that? I just did. So now we're not going to talk about COVID. The more you know. You know what's so awesome? Like knowing that you're bombing and then hearing a in your earphone. And I'm sorry for anyone who had earbuds in, because that was like, oh my god, John, that was fucking loud. That hurts. Can't do that shit. What else we have? What do we got? What else do we have? Self-help bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. Was it Sarah? That kind of sounds like a dickhead thing to say. What? Why do people? Oh, I do not understand one thing. Why can't people just ride bicycles just normal? You hardly ever see that anymore. What you normally see is you see people, whenever you see someone on a bike, they're normally wearing something like they just got done racing Lance Armstrong. And you're just like, why? Like, it's just, why? So it's like, but it's aerodynamic and it's, it's like, it doesn't, but it's just so gross. Like, wear the shoes. Wear some tight pants, kinda. And then just go on with your life. You don't have to look like you just got done in a race. It's just weird. And the fact that you want to ride on the highway, on the streets and stuff like that, just blows my mind. Because I don't even want to walk on a sidewalk next to the street, let alone ride on a bike on the street. So, who am I? What am I? What do I know? I just, and again, people who walk in the in the middle of the street too. There's people that do that. Don't get it. They're like, but it better on the knees. It's like you're walking, you're not doing it. You're doing something that your body should just be able to do. It's an elementary movement. You shouldn't be blowing out your knees just walking on cement versus walking on a pavement. What's the fucking difference anyway? Well, it's hard. If you slam your head against it, you're going to die. It's going to at least concuss you. Minimal is going to concuss you. So why are you doing this? People are like, it feels so much better on your knees. What you should really be doing is walking on the grass, or what you should be doing is walking on sand. That's the thing. If you walk on sand, it's almost like you're walking on the water. It's like, okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for talking about that. How are you guys doing? Doing good? We're kind of slowly going to the descent. Did you hear about Tennessee? Not Tennessee's a big state, way bigger than what you fucking expect it to be. Just gonna tell you that now. But no, Texas with the abortion stuff. I guess this is a great way to fucking end a podcast, right? I think it's silly. I think this is the one thing that I can say that it's pretty you should just let someone have the option to do it. It's not your body. You're dudes shouldn't be talking about it. And I know that sounds kind of homerish again. See, the things I can admit to something that how it might sound, but I'm just being honest. This is a human right. Women should be able to have the opportunity if they want to. It's their body. We have the option to not take the shot or do the shot. Why can't we have the option to, be able to? And I'm sorry, you don't have to agree to it. You don't smoke cigarettes. You just put hard bans on them. And that's what you do. You just put you just put regulations on it, and it gets done. And it just helps. And the thing is, why I don't understand why you can't make money off of it. Why are you acting like you can't make money off of it? Why don't you want to make money off of it? That's why I don't understand. Make money off of it, but it's not your body. You shouldn't be dealing with it. It's probably somehow a man thing. And the thing is, as a dude, we shut the fuck up about something. Shouldn't be talking about it. So anyway. On a lighter note, We got 45 seconds left on this podcast. You should like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys got this far, it was very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. I just realized my computer was not plugged in this entire time, and I have about 16% battery. Watch this. Charging. And just like that, guys, you charged up. You got your weekly dose of me. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next episode. Be safe. Wash your hands at minimum. Just wash your hands. God damn. Just wash your fucking hands. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.